Just want to let you know.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna get a whole lot of vanilla in the sea, but we'll see. We've seen super trolley items show up in their vanilla locations. Usually you'd expect them there, but in rando, something being in its vanilla location, probably one of the trollier things that can happen.
Yep, and we're off.
And we're off, both deciding to start in Link's house, getting a red rupee for their troubles, but already some route diversions here.
See, ParisianPlayer seems to be going south Kakariko Village, while OhHeyItsDavid looking like he's going to go check Uncle and the first part of Escape.
Yep, he's gonna set up for the tree pull here. Ooh, that's very nice, getting some early bombs while ParisianPlayer is farming some bombs in those bushes south of the grove. Both players having some bombs now.
That's a nice early lead that you can never overstate, and he pulls more bombs.
Oh, wow. So let's see what the uncle has for us today. With his last dying words, he gives us the Cane of Berna.
Wow, Brian is showing up early. That's an interesting early item.
Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good item to find early. I mean, you still need the magic. We see that both of our players are still empty on the magic, but it doubles as protection and as a weapon. So if you do find some magic, you at least have a way to defend yourself other than just throwing bombs at everything.
Yep, and we see Parisian going to go farm bombs again, and meanwhile, OhHeyItsDavid has his bombs already, so taking the South High roll. Ooh, and he pulls the lamp.
Oh, wow, a really early lamp. That means no more dark rooms for these guys. I'm sure both are very capable of navigating the dark rooms as much as they want to, but it's still nice to know, okay, at least I won't have to deal with any of that.
Yeah, there's few things worse than a late lamp, because you have to debate to yourself, do I want to be able to navigate those tough dark rooms in, say, Mire or Pod? And a hammer. Wow.
Well, holy mackerel, looks like the dam is really paying out today. I'm a little bit surprised David decides to save and quit here instead of checking the mini Moldorm cave, but I'm sure he has a plan.
Yeah, at this point in time, most racers have kind of a set route that they want to take, and to pull these early chests. There's not a whole lot of route divergence that you'll see decisions. Parisian pulls a bottle so that he'll be able to check Sick Kid.
Oh, that's very nice. That means you can finish off Kakariko completely. You won't have to have that in the back of your mind all the time. Alright, gets a heart container. Not the greatest thing. You'd rather have a progression item more than anything else, but since they're all still on three hearts, getting a heart container early on, not the worst.
Not at all. And we're seeing a heart container up in the Lumberjack Cave, so no Agahnim required, at least as far as we know so far.
Yeah, so far it doesn't look like an Agahnim required seat, but never count out Aga 1. I've learned that the hard way. Oh, and a first sword here for ParisianPlayer in Blind's Hut. That's also a very good find early sword, and at 3 minutes in. I think our current tournament record for swordless in open mode is 97 minutes, so these guys will be happy to get a little bit of a sword.
I commentated that open race, the 97-minute swordless. It was absolutely brutal. But we also got Fisher Price Shield, and OhHeyItsDavid pulled Quake from the mushroom spot. So shout out to our tracker doing work early.
Yeah, these guys are finding items left and right, but probably pretty happy about that. So that means 1 out of 3 medallions found. We don't know yet if either Misery Mire or Turtle Rock will be required. The only 2 dungeons that require a medallion to get in.
LL187, that's you flipped that 97. It was really long.
Yeah, these guys had no fun. I mean, you do get a bunch of other weapons. They had the hammer, they had a fire rod and everything, but still, you're looking for that sword. And considering you need a sword to cut the vines in the back of Skull Woods before you can even get to Mothula. That was a dungeon that was really not available to them for a long while.
Meantime, we have each racer kind of tracing over the other steps. Not uncommon in an early open seed, just trying to find the early items of value. But Hammer and Lamp, where is that pointing you if you were the runners?
That's a good question. I mean, they do not have Dark World access yet, or I would have said Pod, because Hammer and Lamp, that's, with the exception of the bow, pretty much all you need to finish up Pod. But right now, I think they're gonna just continue checking a little bit of the overworld, maybe make their way over to Sahasrar's hut and do an early dip into Eastern.
It's generally a good strategy there. Early dips into Eastern. We still have Mini Muldorm Cave as well, which can have some items of value as well.
Yeah, definitely. There's 5 items in there, so as I said earlier, I'm a little bit surprised OhHeyItsDavid didn't immediately check it when he was down there, but he'll get back to it soon. I'm pretty sure about that.
Absolutely. One thing to keep in mind that we've seen in this version 27 logic a lot of times is we'll get a lot of early value items and then just kind of go dead silent for about an hour in the race, where we start to narrow it down to, early map check.
Yep, we're getting a map check here from ParisianPlayer. It shows us that 3 crystals in the light world, so that's good to know. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I always like seeing 3 crystals in the light world.
I do too, because a lot of the dungeons that are locked behind a lot of different items are in the dark world. So, all 3 crystals, they're 1, 3, and 4, I believe. We didn't have any of we didn't have 5 or 6, but I mean, the idea that, hey, if there's a pendant in T-Rock, in this logic, I think it's required, but that means it's not necessarily required for Ice Rod and Fire Rod there. But we'll see what's going on.
Oh, and that's interesting. ParisianPlayer opts to go with a B here for the mini Moldorms. Not the worst play. That's a good use of your B. You won't have to throw any bombs or fiddle around with only 4 heart. Just let that B do some work for you, and there you go.
No, that's one of the better uses of bees, especially when you have only Fighter Sword. You can just launch it and let it go. Go get a drink or something.
Alright, we sadly saw that the mini Moldorm Cave didn't really hold anything of value for our guys here. OhHeyItsDavid is going to find that out in a second, and it looks like ParisianPlayer is making his way over to the Ice Rod Cave, wanting to get those out of the way locations out of the way right away.
It'll be either Ice Rod. Yep, looks like he's still going. Look for him to also do a fake flippers here check.
Yeah, I think they might want to wait till they have the Moon Pearl to combine it with the water walking glitch to check the Waterfall Fairy, but we'll see. Maybe he decides that going up to Zora and checking out what's happening might be a good early play.
Well, I mean, pulling the 300 rupees in the mini Moldorm Cave, we'll see what he gets here. He might be able to make his Zora play.
There were some rupees, but not quite enough. He's still short 108. I'm guessing he's, well, we'll see. He's walking back out, so he's not saving and quitting, it seems like.
It looks like he's probably setting up the fake flippers if he's walking back and not saving and quitting out of this.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. I find that a bit curious, but not necessarily a bad play.
What I've seen in a lot of the tournaments and races so far is that maybe some good routing decisions from the last tournament or in earlier versions, such as fake flippering over, are not paying off quite as much. So we're seeing some interesting choices being made that they're not paying off quite as well as they used to. And Parisian sees the book there on the ledge. That could be interesting later.
Yeah, definitely. We already saw that Desert is a crystal, so they'll definitely have to go there. And the book it might be required depending on where or when they find the mirror. And to get into desert, they'll also need the flute along with the mirror, so they might have to come back for that book at some point.
Oh, hey, it's David opting to head towards escape instead of checking Sahasrara and making an early Eastern dive. This is an interesting routing choice.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of advocating the Sahasrara and EP play, but I do like this decision. You can get down to Zelda Cell without much of a problem. It might hold some items, and you don't want to keep it for too long, because this is basically an area that is accessible right away from the start, especially if you don't mind going in here without any weapons. And if it holds anything of importance, you don't want to keep it for too long, because if you come back here like an hour or so into the seed and you find something really important, you're definitely going to feel behind.
Yeah, and with lamp and sword, you can go ahead and complete all of escape in the dark room. Not that these players wouldn't be confident without the dark room, but it just helps navigating that. Parisian go ahead and setting up Houlihan room. Looks like he is going to try to make a play up there to Zora.
Yep, that's a good idea. He was missing some rupees, and he decides to grab a bunch here in the Houlihan room, and he's probably gonna... Well, looks like he's also making his way up to escape. He just wanted to make sure he had enough money for Zora once he gets done with the first part of escape.
Which isn't a bad idea. If you happen to be in an area where you can set it up, go ahead and do it, even if you have somewhere else you want to go first. Just because there's only a handful of places you can set that up easily with muscle memory, so might as well do it while you can.
Yeah, and OhHeyItsDavid is setting up for a death warp here, so it looks like he wants to complete the whole of escape right away. Meanwhile, ParisianPlayer grabs his Cane of Burna. Yep, and that's exactly where David's going. He's got that small key, so that means he can get through everything without much of a hitch. He also, as you mentioned, has that lamp, so he won't have to deal with any dark sewer rooms.
I don't know about you, but that mouse with the key always trolls the heck out of me when I try to dark room this for whatever reason.
Yeah, that mouse, she is the worst. I've had her, even with the lamp, I have to admit, sometimes she just switches places with another mouse and you kill the other mouse and it doesn't drop anything and you're like, hey, aren't you supposed to drop a key? Oh,
Ooh,
and the flute. That was a good choice by David.
that's going to make a lot of difference. We'll see if ParisianPlayer ends up following OhHeyItsDavid through the second half of escape. If not, well, we'll see. Parisian took a hit, so he may be setting up a death warp afterwards as well. We'll see what the play is.
Yeah, that definitely looked like an intentional hit to me, so I'm guessing he's also setting up the death warp to finish the rest of escape. Yeah, I like this play. I like this play a lot.
So do I, and it's paying off for OhHeyItsDavid. And the hook shot!
Oh wow, escape is loaded today, jeez.
And with the hook shot and the flute, that opens up East Death Mountain. I like it.
Definitely. They're still looking for a lift upgrade, but now that they got the flute, they don't have to worry about it at all anymore. So I'm assuming, OhHeyItsDavid, yep, it looks like it. He's making his way directly towards Kakariko, activating his flute right away.
In Parisian, okay, there's his death warp.
Alright, ParisianPlayer also doing his death warp, as we just said. Going back to the beginning of escape. Gonna make his way down into the sewers, gonna pick up his flute and his hook shot. It's only gonna be maybe a minute behind OhHeyItsDavid, but at this point in the seed, that doesn't really mean anything at all yet. We'll see where OhHeyItsDavid decides to go next. As Vitasia just said, it might be Death Mountain. It would be a good play. They have everything to check up there. Oh, okay, decides to check out the desert area first. Checking out the ledge item, only a piece of heart here. Gonna go over to Agahnim's cave, see what that man has hidden in his little bombable wall. I always wonder how he actually gets that item behind that. He must have hidden that little treasure chest in there and then decided to just rebuild the wall until some random adventurer comes by and throws a bomb at it. Oh, and it's the boots! What are those? Gotta go fast. So with that in hand, OhHeyItsDavid now has all the traversal tools he needs, really. He's got the hookshot, he's got the boots, he's got the flute. He can get wherever he wants. Meanwhile, on ParisianPlayer side, he picks up his hookshot too. Already grabbed the flute down there. Gonna go right ahead and activate that right away too. I'm assuming we're not gonna see too much of a divergence here. ParisianPlayer just barely a minute behind OhHeyItsDavid, if even.
Not a huge difference. They're still following each other's routing, so can't really say any player is ahead or not. We'll wait until we see a real significant route divergence until we can make any sort of pronouncement like that.
Yeah, definitely. At this point in the seed, it's really still anyone's game. It might look like OhHeyItsDavid is a little bit ahead right now just because he was up here on Death Mountain a little bit earlier, but that can all change so quickly, especially in Rando.
Well, all it takes really beyond that is a single troll dorm hit can knock you off, and we've seen lots of players take, I'm not going to call it even silly, just random hits on something like that, and it'll cost them 30, 45 seconds, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Looks like we have the cape on top of Spectacle Rock, so they can't quite pick that up yet until they get the Mire, but good to know anyways. Some helpful intel.
Nice to be able to pick that up and maybe do Spike Cave right after that. Be worthwhile.
Yeah, we'll have to see where and when they'll find the Mire, if they get a couple more hearts, and they already have the Cape of Berna, so, not the Cape, the Cane of Berna. Mixing up those two invincibility items.
They're almost interchangeable, just a few differences, but just enough to see. David, looks like they're just right there. Parisian skipped checking the Spectacle Rock, so right now we're high-fiving each other.
Yep, they're pretty much in sync now. We see the single validation arrow here from the chest.
I'll tell you what, that single validation arrow at my last race I commentated came down to the winner of the race, beat Ganon, had one arrow left for the last shot. And he picked up the validation arrow at Digging Game. It was amazing.
That's pretty good. Alright, we're checking the rest of the 7 chest cave here.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I think we're having some slight technical difficulties here. We'll be right back.
These runners are side by side. This is shaping up to be kind of an awesome match right now between Mr. ParisianPlayer and OhHeyItsDavid.
Yep, it's really still neck and neck. Alright, we'll see OhHeyItsDavid going off to check the spiral cave now. Pretty good choice. Another thing I want to mention is that
I think I just saw the Mire on ParisianPlayer's screen.
Oh, I'll have to check that again as soon as in menus. That might have been the Mire. What I meant to mention is OhHeyItsDavid decided to flute over to number 6 and check Agahnim's cave, and he found the boots there. So that's something that ParisianPlayer is definitely still missing.
That'll be big. And yep, there's the Mire.
Yep, looks like they both found the Mire in the in the 7 chest cave. So, OhHeyItsDavid heading right back up to Hera, where ParisianPlayer just picks up his Master Sword. So that's our second sword that we're finding this seed. And we had a shield on the floating island, as Kidali just tells us. So nobody is probably gonna pick that up, I'm assuming. These guys don't really need shields.
No, the shield game is strong. They do not need anything like that. Parisian making his way up. Luckily, didn't have to go down into the basement.
Yeah, at least so far. We never know if the last item might not be hiding down there, but we'll find out in a second.
Parisian setting up the bomb jump. And the Moon Pearl.
Ooh,
Vanilla
hello.
Moon Pearl.
Vanilla Moon Pearl, you're right. Well, there we go. We were talking about it before they started. Items in their vanilla location. There's one already. And that was also the second item in this dungeon, so that means they only have to go and kill Moldorm, get their crystal, and be done with Tower of Hera. And now that they found the Master Sword, they also have the choice of either hammering his tail or going for sword spins. It'll be the same damage either way, but we'll see what they feel more comfortable with. Looks like ParisianPlayer is immediately taking out the hammer. Just wants to bang on that warm tail for a bit. Oh, there's hit number 2.
You know, I think a lot of the players end up practicing so much with hammer strats for Moldorm that they end up being more comfortable with it in the long run. Unless they have the butter sword or a tempered. And that so rarely happens until you get to Ganon's tower.
Yeah, it's very true. And I guess it's also just faster to do it with a hammer because charging up your spin, you walk slower, it gives Moldorm more of a chance to knock you around. Thankfully, it's harder for him to knock you down the pit if you have your sword out. As we can see on OhHeyItsDavid's side, he opts to go for the sword spins.
We see David, coming close to being knocked off a couple times, but that sword saving him. So whatever strat each player is comfortable with, that ends up being the right strat in the long term.
Absolutely. There really is no right or wrong. It's just what do you feel more confident with, and you just go ahead and do that. As long as you can get the boss done and don't die in the process, you did a good. Alright, so both of our players picked up their first crystal here. ParisianPlayer now checking out the spiral cave that OhHeyItsDavid has already checked out. He decides, okay, I guess I've exhausted pretty much all of what I could do. I'm gonna go ahead and check Mr. Sahasraral's hut, see what he's hiding in the back. Maybe take a dip into Eastern.
We're still waiting for that glove. There's a lot of things that are blocked off without any sort of glove upgrade.
Yeah, they definitely want to find that lift upgrade.
We haven't seen either player go make a play at Zora yet, have we?
No, I don't think so, but now that they have the Moon Pearl, it's looking pretty attractive to me. It will be a sequence break if they decide to go there, at least for the Waterfall Ferry. Zora, you can, well, it's still gonna be, well, okay, you can get there with the warp. But it's definitely gonna be a sequence break either way. Okay, it looks like David is making his way into Eastern Palace. Decides to go in without the bow. Feels kind of weird sometimes because you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'll check, but I can't really finish the dungeon yet. But with how little they have left to check, at least by the logic, I can't really fault him for going in here. And I've been advocating for this since the start of the seed, so...
Yeah, there can be quite a bit of value in an early Eastern dive, especially when you take a look, because it's 3 treasure chests, and it's usually a pretty quick 3 treasures. But then almost immediately after, you can mirror out and then wait to loop into the boss when you do pod as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's not a long way to go back and just get to the boss if you've cleared the dungeon out beforehand, and considering which items they've gotten so far, it's not a bad play. There's no dark rooms to deal with anymore. There's no sequence breaks going on here, so whatever they might find, it may end up bringing them closer to their goal.
Whole lot of nothing so far. The compass and the map, so at least one of those items is going to end up being on the boss. We'll see which two they end up getting here. Oh, well, one's going to be the big key.
Yep, one of those chests must be the big key. Could it be a vanilla big key?
I think it has to be at this point, unless the boss has the big key. That'd be... No, he can't. So
No, that
yeah.
can't be, yeah. It has to be the vanilla big key. You're completely right. And as Clifford is pointing out in the chat, our wonderful restreamer here, yeah, Aga won when. They do have everything they need. They have a Master Sword to get past the barrier. They have the lamp to not do any dark rooms. It's looking like an Aga 1 required, maybe, unless they do manage to find that lift upgrade somewhere.
It's looking more and more likely. Well, no, they have the hammer. They could go... can't they go Kakariko on the backside?
You still need something to lift that rock off the portal.
Oh, right, right.
And it looks like OhHeyItsDavid has figured it out himself. We will see where he's going. Oh, he's floating away, okay. Yeah, as I thought, they're definitely gonna do the fake flipper into Waterfall Fairy now. Deciding for a sequence break here.
Again, not a bad idea. Since you're already here, wanting to avoid that really long Agahnim run, if you can at all avoid it.
Now, OhHeyItsDavid finds out that the book is on the Lake Hylia Island. We'll note that in his head for later use. And yeah, I mean, it's I can understand trying to avoid Aga 1, and maybe the sequence break will pay off for them, but they do have to remember that they sequence broke to get there, and that can sometimes come back and haunt you a little bit later.
Absolutely. OhHeyItsDavid, looking like he's getting ready to make another decision here.
Yeah, flutes to 8 again. That's definitely going to be the warp up to the Zora area.
That is so quick and so consistent. How well he sets up that fake flipper. He's done it 1,000 times before, and it just doesn't struggle with it at all.
Yeah, I like the little bush setup. It's really consistent, and you don't have to worry about being on the right pixel or anything. It just kind of works. It's definitely a good play. All right, he walks out to get the water walking set up and opens up the 2 chests, gets a big heart and another big heart out of it.
Lots of love in that cave.
Yep, that fairy is spreading all the love around. Now we're gonna run on water, check out the Zora ledge item, which we cannot grab with this water walking glitch. Oh, he decides to not even look at it. I guess he knows.
Not wanting to check.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised, but I guess he knows he can't get it anyway, so he's probably thinking, well, I might as well come back here with flippers later on. Alright, and here's a heart piece, so this sequence break didn't really pay off at all for him.
That's right. We did not see what was going on the ledge. He was too far over, so we don't have that intel.
Alright, no, OhHeyItsDavid thinking about it, but I think at this point, pretty much the only thing they can still do is Aga 1.
I mean, the positive side is that you've come to this decision and say, okay, not only do I have to do it, but my opponent has to do it as well. So yes, it's unfortunate and you've made every play possible, but then again, you have to think, Did my opponent make the early call to go to Aga 1? If it's going to end up being required, do they have a jump on you?
Yeah, you never know. It's definitely something that could make you feel like you're a little bit behind. We'll have to find out. It looks like ParisianPlayer has decided to pick up his boots now. He's going to check out the bonk rocks here. I'm not 100% sure if OhHeyItsDavid decided to check them, so... Oh, it's only a red rupee anyway, so good for him.
Yep, Lumberjack was checked. Lumberjack was just a heart container, or a heart piece, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Aga one is not necessarily required for that, even though now with the boots, and after they're done with Aga 1, they could go and get it if they really wanted another heart.
I don't anticipate these runners doing that at all.
Yeah, me neither. I will be very surprised to see that. Oh, David is getting bullied a little bit by all those blue guards. But looking okay still. Oops. Takes another little hit, nothing too bad. These guys can be so annoying, especially if you hit them from the wrong angle and your sword just clinks off their sword or their shield and they don't let you go anywhere. It can be really annoying.
Yeah, some of the physics you don't expect to bounce around quite as much when you're striking off their other swords like that. So, especially in those dark rooms without ledges.
Yep, that can be quite scary. But David is making good progress here up Aga Tower.
Absolutely textbook so far from David in these early parts.
He gets a little bullied by those weird eyeball bats, I guess. Alright, and he's very close to his Aga 1. ParisianPlayer hot on his heels. He's not very far away at all. I find it fascinating that David is a couple of hearts ahead. I'm not quite sure where he picked all those up, considering they've checked mostly the same spaces.
I think a lot of that comes down to the double heart containers there in the ferry, because I don't think we saw ParisianPlayer do the fake flippers, did we?
Oh yeah, you're completely right, of course. Those were 2 heart containers, and that's exactly the lead that he has, if I'm not completely terrible at counting.
Meanwhile, OhHeyItsDavid is, doing a sequence break of his own, doing Agahnim without the bug med.
Yeah, that should be a crime, but I guess if you really have to, you can do it with the Master Sword too.
I mean, if you absolutely have to. It is a sequence break, so take it with a grain of salt. OhHeyItsDavid headbanging against the pillar.
Yeah, I gotta spend your time somehow when Aga is firing lightning against the door for no reason.
Blue balls. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the re-edition of the blue balls is everyone's least favorite change from earlier versions of Rando.
Yeah, people are not big fans of blue balls, and who can blame them? The only redeeming factor is that we can be sure that both the players will get the same RNG, so they will get the exact same number of blue balls and the exact same number of Ganon teleports near the end of the game. So at least nobody is suffering from too horrible of an RNG. You know that if you're getting a lot of blue balls, your opponent will be getting just the same amount.
This is like 3 or 4 blue balls in a row. My goodness, this is one of the most annoying Aga ones I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is no fun. There we go. OhHeyItsDavid finally gets him down. Both of our players deciding to plummet a bit of a boomerang attack down on Aga here in rage of all his blue balls that he's offering them.
Everyone just remember, blue balls are bad. If you can avoid blue balls, please do so.
Yes, please, for your own safety, no blue balls. Okay, we saw on OhHeyItsDavid's side that the pyramid item is only a heart piece. He decided to skip it and makes his way right up to the Quakefish. Forgets that he doesn't have a lift upgrade. Has to hammer down that little peg.
That's going to make getting past this rock up here a little bit difficult, isn't it? Not having a lift upgrade?
Yeah, he will be very disappointed in a second, and there we go. Some frustration slashes, and back he goes the way he came.
That almost means we've got to see something here in an early pod dip or, hook shot.
Yeah, with the hammer and the hookshot, they have pretty much the whole Dark World open to them. Okay, this is a fascinating route. I guess he wants to check the mirror spot up there immediately. I can't really blame him. Oh, we got a quick map check on ParisianPlayer side. I sadly missed it.
Help us out, chat. What do you guys see on ParisianPlayer side?
Alright, just $5 in King's Tomb. That's what he wanted to check out. Gonna mirror right back. Probably gonna check the ledge now. ParisianPlayer just switching places with him. Decides to check the ledge first. Is probably gonna go down to the King's Tomb after that.
High-fiving each other. This is really amazing routing because this wasn't the play that I would make, but I'm not in the tournament. These two very quality players are just pacing each other, one after another.
Yep, really good routing choice here. I agree. Going into pod this early, I mean, they do have the hammer, but they are definitely bowlocked. Alright, here's another map check. We got the green pendant in Turtle Rock, the blue pendant in Skull Woods, and the red pendant down in Mire. Those are pretty much exactly the pendant dungeons you want to see.
Those are, but in this V26 logic, I have yet to see any pendant dungeon for Turtle Rock that hasn't required going into Turtle Rock in some capacity.
Yeah, sadly, that is, well, I wouldn't call it a problem, but just a fact of V26 here. It is very, very unlikely that none of these pendant dungeons will have an item that they want to have.
Although technically, let's see, we have Mire, Turtle Rock, and Skullwoods. Yeah, Skullwoods. So theoretically, we have Cane not required. We have Fire and Ice Rod not required.
Yeah, theoretically, this could turn out to be a pretty early go mode, depending on what they can find around here. It looks like OhHeyItsDavid is very aware of the fact that Skullwoods has a lot of potential for a useful item in this logic. Decides to dive right in. If I'm remembering my numbers correctly, I think Skullwoods has about a 30% chance to have a good item, no matter if it's a pendant or a crystal. So the play here is definitely not the worst.
No, and confirmation bias, I'm sure, plays a lot. We've seen a lot of really key and necessary items in Skullwoods throughout this entire tournament. So as everyone watches, it's just adding more and more. And Parisian taking an early dive into Thieves Town, pulling Ether.
Yeah, that's also very good. To answer your question here, Olive, Thieves Town, I don't exactly remember the number, but Thieves Town doesn't have a lot of requirements for items to get in here. You basically only need to have the hammer to be able to check the big chest, so it has a pretty good chance of having something useful too. And it is a crystal on top of that, so might be the better choice here. We will see.
Another thing about Turtle Rock and Misery Mire, you may not need any pendant. But if another item is locked behind there, you might still need to go pendant hunting, which that's almost unfortunate. I think I would rather see a crystal in those dungeons because you never know if something's pendant locked behind, in a pendant dungeon. Ugh.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an icky feeling once you realize, okay, I guess I can't avoid going into a Pendant dungeon and checking this out for that one item that I'm still missing. So far, Skullwoods hasn't really paid out at all yet. I think I haven't seen a single item picked up yet. He just got the big key, so he's going back for that big chest, hoping that he doesn't have to go in the bag, which he can't do right now anyway, since he's still lacking the fire rod.
Yeah, and there's still one item, the map, that's available, so it's entirely possible that this will be a dud for him. Meanwhile, Parisian getting at least some value out of it.
Yep, he did manage to pick up Ether. I think the second item that I just saw was a red rupee, so nothing too great, but...
he also picked up the fire shield, so...
Ooh, oh yeah. That's also a good thing to have, I think. I mean, I don't think these players really need it, but the Fire Shield, probably one of the more underrated shields of the Zelda series.
It's nice to see it, particularly right before blind, I think. I'm not quite the pro player these guys are, so I like to use that to block myself.
Yeah, it is definitely helpful to have that before blind. And we see ParisianPlayer has to take the long way around because they still don't have a lift upgrade, so he can't lift that block. Needs to kill all the enemies. Oh, and there's the flippers!
Don't think we really found anything that was a sequence break up there, but it's nice to be able to have the flippers. With hookshot, that means the water world opens up to us. Why am I drawing a blank there?
You mean the Swamp Palace?
Yeah, Swamp Palace. That's it. Derp.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, Waterworld works. I think everyone knows what you're talking about. Okay, we get... OhHeyItsDavid finds the mushroom in the bombable hut, so that means the witch might hold something that we want. And blind with
gave
the
us a
old
hint.
troll. What did he say?
I think he said Mire requires Quake.
I think he always says Mire requires Bombos, Ether, or Quake, depending on which medallions you already have. This
Okay.
guy likes trolling you. Alright, Parisian picks up his second crystal, and OhHeyItsDavid, hot on his heels, gonna check out what the Thieves town holds for him.
Be interesting to see where ParisianPlayer goes after this, clearing out the rest of the Village of Outcasts here. Might make a play for South Hyrule, South Dark World Hyrule, just because you have so much value in Digging Game and the Ledge from Stumpy, not to mention Hype Cave, or as we call it now in version 26, the Cave of Mediocrity.
Yeah, sadly, the Hype Cave really hasn't delivered on its name too much lately, but I still like the routing choice. You get all the stuff down there, the Digging Game, as you said, the Grove Ledge, Stumpy himself. The problem is, he won't be able... Well, he will be, but he just has to take the long way around again. He can't lift up that rock still, unless he digs up something fancy from Alec Baldwin here.
And we've seen, more value out of the Digging Game, at least early, and instead we have a little love. Never mind.
OhHeyItsDavid needs to be a little bit careful here, or remember that he has the Cane of Burna. He's down to 3 hearts. Everything in here pretty much does 2 hearts of damage to you if you're still in green mail.
Oh, that was a very nice hell room there by OhHeyItsDavid.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Doesn't get hit a single time. Oh, I'm surprised ParisianPlayer didn't mirror bonk there. He was kind of stuck on the bushes for a little bit, but it worked out for him.
Yep. Old Stumpy gives him a bottle with a blue potion. That'll be nice for him.
Yeah, not a progression item, but nobody says no to a free blue potion.
We've seen a lot of runners so far that if they have that blue potion, it can save a death right at a key moment there when a race is coming down to the end.
And we see both these runners not really used to finding a lift upgrade that late. I think we've seen each of them try to lift up a big rock somewhere and not being able to, because they still haven't even found a single glove. Let's see if Hype Cave can deliver today.
I'm hoping so. It would really open up this seed to a lot of places.
Yeah, and I think at this point they really don't have that much of a choice anymore. I mean, what's left to check? I guess they can dip into Pod. Oh man, that was not a Hype Cave at all.
No, cave of mediocrity.
I think even that is giving it too much credit at this point.
Ouch. Let's see. I mean, the only other thing I can think of would be an early pod dive, but if there's not a key in that first chest, then all of pod would be a dud because they don't have the bow yet either.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where they can go. I suppose they can make their way into Swamp Palace.
Oh, Parisian is actually making a play for the book to open up the first half of possibly Desert.
Okay, why not? He's got the Master Sword, so he can check the tablets. He also has the Mirror, so he can definitely get to those if he wants to. And it looks like he's making his way up to the pod area right now.
Or not.
Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's checking Quakefish?
Maybe he thinks he's checking Quakefish.
Oh no, I think he's probably
Is he gonna make the same mistake? Or...
No, I think he's gonna hookshot. Well, nope, he's definitely gonna go and make the same mistake. As I said, both these runners. Over. Oh wait, he might just mirror back for the mushroom. He might actually not go up there.
That's fair. And OhHeyItsDavid takes a death. I didn't see if that was an intentional death or not.
No, I think he died on the blind fight.
That's unfortunate for David.
At least I hope it was the blind fight, because if he died before he got that maiden to the blind room, he'll have to redo all that again.
Parisian picking up a nice bit of survivability in the banana hat.
Yeah, that's very nice, getting a change of clothes in exchange for a bunch of drugs. Okay, and OhHeyItsDavid is back for his revenge, gets out his hammer, but he does have his Master Sword, which might make it a little bit easier. Decides, okay, I'm not dying to you again. Gets out the cane of Brian. And blind is no problem with that at all.
Parisian now making his way up to Zora and will be able to check without a sequence break. Not only the fairy, but maybe we'll get to see what's on the ledge now, and if David made a mistake in not checking what the ledge was.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see.
Wouldn't that be something if their first lift upgrade was actually on that ledge?
Oh, that would be so painful for OhHeyItsDavid. But it looks like it's just 3 bombs, so nothing too special there. And now we see OhHeyItsDavid making his rounds to the digging game, and then probably the rest of South Dark World, Hyrule.
Either way, we're running out of places. Both Pod and Swamp Palace are kind of the only places they can go at this point in time, it feels like.
Yeah, I think I'd personally make the play on Swamp first, because at least you can full clear it. But it looks like Parisian has different ideas. He's gonna take the Aga 1 warp here to the pyramid real quick.
David picking up the mail that was in the library, so we know where both armor upgrades are. They're just taking different routes to them.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm pretty sure David will be turning his mushroom in sooner rather than later, so he'll definitely have the red mail at some point. Oh, okay. And Parisian decided that the warp through the Aga portal is faster than going down. And oh wait, he couldn't even have taken the portal. They still don't have a lift upgrade.
They still don't have a lift upgrade. That's just painful. Because yeah, you don't even practice not having a lift upgrade at this point in time. You just rely on your game knowledge and hope it gets you through.
Yeah, it's really quite unusual to not get even a single lift upgrade this long into the seed. We're about to hit the 50-minute mark, and neither of our players has even so much as seen a glove somewhere.
I mean, I'm sure we've both seen seeds where, they'll have Titan's Mitt in the first 10 minutes. See, being 50 minutes in without even Power Glove is rough.
Yeah, and as chat is pointing out, ParisianPlayer decides to dive into pod, ignore Swamp for now. Yeah, we'll see if it pays off for him. I do hope it does. He might be bow-locked here in a bit, depending on what he finds. Oh man, and he does find his first lift upgrade, so absolutely the right choice from him.
High risk, high reward for ParisianPlayer. That lift upgrade is going to mean a lot of things open up to him.
Definitely. So now we're gonna see where OhHeyItsDavid is going to. It certainly looks like he's also making his way over to the pod area. Oh, nope, he also wants to grab the book first. Can't really blame him if you see the book so prominently displayed on that Lake Hylia island. It's definitely in the back of your head.
Yeah, and with Desert Palace being a place, you already have the boots, so you guaranteed to be able to get through it. Lamp is a fire source, so Desert Palace might look a little attractive to you as well.
Yeah, that's very true. And all the swamp talk, I completely forgot about Desert Palace. And it seems like David is immediately headed there. Can't really blame him. It's not a bad choice. As you say, he has everything required to finish it up. And it's a crystal,
Except a lift upgrade.
Oh yeah, of course. You need a lift upgrade to get into the bag. Oh my god.
So he might be taking a risk, hoping that there's something here. Again, with Rando, it's a risk of, it's balancing your risk with the reward. Higher risk plays can lead to bigger rewards if they end up playing out for you. Parisian made the risk for pod, and I would say, as of right now, is in the lead just because he has that lift upgrade.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that, but do remember, we're working with progressive gloves here, so for all we know, OhHeyItsDavid could pull out his power gloves from Desert here. That would probably be his biggest blessing if he manages that.
That would be an amazing pull to be able to do, to get progressive glove in the vanilla dungeon where it's located.
We will see. So far, everything is open to him. We saw that the torch only had the compass, so still 2 items at large so far.
Parisian makes a nice bomb jump over to the big chest there, and then pulls the big key to be able to open it up immediately. So well done there. And yeah, David pulls silvers.
Also a very nice fight. Not exactly what he's looking for right now, but at least he cleared it out. Second item is a red rupee, so not the lift upgrade he was looking for.
It'll be nice. He might be able to take on some bosses once he gets the bow. It's just a matter of how long until ParisianPlayer makes the play on that. We do know that OhHeyItsDavid at this point is probably going to have to get over to pod as quickly as possible to get that lift upgrade we know about.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly where he's headed right now. He's taking the same way that that Parisian took, and oh, we shall see.
Meanwhile, Parisian looks like he's going down to Swamp. Might be checking the pedestal that's over there. We'll see.
Oh yeah, might go over to check the Bombos tablet, see if there's anything fancy on there. But I guess he'll take the dive into the palace first, just because there's way more items in here.
That's I mean, that's absolutely fine. We see a lot of people routing the Bombos check in a few different ways, either through checking Swamp Palace or checking the purple chest, for example.
And yeah, just to answer something from chat real quick, we do have 4 speed gaming channels now. Speed Gaming 2, 3, and 4. And we do also as well have Randomizer Mania and Randomizer Mania 2, 3, and 4, where most of our secondary matches are being broadcast. So make sure to follow all those channels and keep up to date with the millions and millions of rando games that are coming at you till the end of the year.
There's no excuse. If you love rando, it's a beautiful time to be around right now.
Absolutely. And OhHeyItsDavid is, as we said, making the right choices here. He's gonna grab his lift upgrade in just a second. It'll be interesting to see if he decides to further clear the dungeon or if he mirrors right out. Oh, looks like he's continuing on. Can't really blame him for that.
No, might as well clear what you can here as best you can, and then head out. Well, he's mirroring now. So many, I mean, you mirror so often in pod just to get out of it. You never know if he's mirroring out, or just going back to the beginning.
Yeah, it can be a bit deceiving, but I think, as you said, he's going to try and clear out as much of it as he can, just in case there's another progression item hidden in here somewhere. And Parisian is making his way through Swamp. It'll be interesting to see if he decides to skip the left side for now and head right up to where Argus is, or if he wants to full clear everything before he decides to go up there.
I've seen both plays pay off in many races right now, so it's just a personal preference. Some people don't like to take that risk to double dip.
Yeah, you can sometimes, depending on what you find in the beginning, infer a little bit what those 2 chests might have, but yeah, it's definitely a gamble.
And it looks like Parisian's going to go ahead and gamble that left side.
Yeah, I don't really blame him, considering the items that they're still missing and the amount of items that are in here in Swamp potentially. I would probably full clear it like this too. The only thing that could get a little annoying is if you get the big key and the very far back, or even worse, from Argus himself, and you're still missing an item. It means you're gonna have to trek back to the big chest.
That's always a risk that I think they take. It's a tough call no matter what you do, and that's the beauty of random. There are no real wrong decisions. It's just whether or not they play out in your favor.
Yeah, I think that's a really good explanation of how rando usually works for the players. It could just work out for him. He might just find the big key up there, or even better, a progression item that he wants, and be very happy about it, or he could have to double dip again. But in the end, it doesn't really matter which you do first. If you plan on full clearing it, you're gonna have to double dip either way. Alright, there's a red rupee. Let's see what the other chest on the left side has. Ooh, a shovel.
Shovel. That's one of those items that I hate seeing because it could be amazing and it could be horrible.
Yeah, you're never really sure about the shovel. It's basically just one more spot to check, with the checkpoint of the shovel coming before it, before you can actually check it. And most of the time you'll dig something up that's not really worth your while, but I'm assuming we're gonna find out here at some point. Parisian checking real quick if he's got the big key yet, realizes he doesn't, so it must be somewhere in the back part. Meanwhile, OhHeyItsDavid is making his way over to Bombos before he goes into Swamp, which ParisianPlayer did not check, so we'll see what that has for us.
Sounds good. And as chat points out, we don't even necessarily need a sword upgrade. Ice Rod. But
Ooh.
because of the dungeons that are required right now, we are the bow, and we are a lift upgrade from Go Mode.
and a fire rod or bombos for ice pellets. But yeah.
Oh, right. We don't, oh, that's right. We have the other two.
Nathu 42, Master Sword is 100% required because you cannot hurt Ganon with anything but the Master Sword.
Parisian pulls the Titansmith.
Oh wow, Titansmith and the big chest. Good thing he went back for that and didn't straight go to Argus. But yeah.
Oh, hey, it's David making his way. That's a big pull. That's one of the few items that they need, so they'll be able to unlock Dark Death Mountain now. Lots of value to be had there.
Yeah, especially since they already have the hookshot, they'll be able to get the Super Bunny Cave and then go straight up to the hookshot cave. That's another bunch of items for them that you don't want to miss out on.
It also opens up a few different possibilities in terms of getting into the Dark World, so they don't always have to use the Aga Cave or Aga portal.
Yep, they basically have the whole world open to them now with that second lift upgrade.
We're just waiting on the bow. Where could it be? We have a lot of options at this point in time. At exactly an hour, imagine at an hour only being bow and either fire rod and bombos from go mode.
Yeah, it's quite crazy with the way the pendants worked out for these guys. It could be really fortunate, but as we mentioned earlier, we would be very surprised if they didn't have to dip into some sort of pendant dungeon at least for a little bit for one of these items.
It would be really interesting if Trinex had one of the items, because up to this point, Parisian skipped the Bombos check, which was Ice Rod. So if Ice Rod ends up being required for this seed, and Parisian skips that, ooh, that would be exciting.
Yeah, that could definitely come into play. Looks like OhHeyItsDavid also wants to check out the left side, so he's definitely going to full clear this too.
And forget my hype that I just put. Parisian's clearly going to check Bombos now.
Didn't forget about it. Good on him. It means he's going to grab his Ice Rod. Will probably make him feel not that great, because as soon as you pick up the first rod, you're thinking, oh god, do I have to go into Pendant Turtle Rock for this? Oh, and he's immediately checking the Mire area. That's he's probably gonna check out the Mire shed and then mirror back to the checkerboard cave. He might also decide that he wants to finish up Desert while he's here, now that he finally has a lift upgrade. Nothing really too great going on here in the Mire shed. Yep, decides to warp back and finish up Desert while he's here. Not a bad choice. Oh no, and David forgot to put down the crystal switch, so he's blocked off from this chest, which we know has the big key, I believe. That will cost him a couple of seconds of backtracking here and walking all around those crystal switches again.
And with a race this close, even a couple seconds can make the difference. I'm looking forward to them high-fiving in Ganon. What do you say?
Yeah, at this point, I think it could definitely happen. I mean, OhHeyItsDavid is a little bit behind on the Swamp Palace, but he checked most of Desert already. So, ParisianPlayer still cleaning that up. That means they're not too far apart at all.
The difference is Parisian can actually clear out Desert, because when OhHeyItsDavid checked it, he had no lift upgrades.
Yep, that's very true. He has a little bit of a benefit there with being able to mirror back from the Mire area and going straight to the back instead of having to check in here again. But other than that, it's neck and neck still. It's anyone's game. Oh right, this was the shovel. And as chat tells us, the Mire medallion was Bombo's. They both don't have that yet, so it might not matter, but you never know.
I think chat's hoping for both the Mire and Turtle Rock requirement. Aren't you guys? Oh, hey, it's David making his way. We'll see if David ends up backtracking for that that Titansmith upgrade like Parisian did. Ended up saving him a double dip. We'll see if David makes the same call. If not, that's going to end up costing David a lot of time. I'm seeing Pedestal Seed. Oh, goodness. Let's see where we're at with Pedestal Seed. With Mire, T-Rock, and Skullwoods. Yeah, Mire, T-Rock, and Skullwoods. Man, I don't know what we have left that could be Pedestal Seed. I guess Bo can be Pedestal Seed. And we see David going ahead and backtracking to get that Power Glove. Good play by David. I'm really happy to see him do that. If he would have made that risk, it would have really hurt him and he'd fallen further behind, particularly if he didn't ever go back and check. Parisian checking checkerboard cave, and has a bad warp. It's going to cost him a few seconds there. Just $50. Not a big deal.
Yeah, not what you want to see here, really, but oh well. At least you check that off your mental checklist and don't have to come back for that later.
Meanwhile, Parisian looks like heading up to do the Dark Death Mountain run, which is a good play. There's a lot of value to be had in that area.
Yeah, definitely. This, I'm feeling the bow here. I don't know why, but I'm thinking they're kind of running out of spaces to check. It should be the bow, and if it's not the bow, it's probably something trolly like Bombo, so they can get independent Mire.
I was going to say, I think right at the moment, chat is hoping for pendants to get into Mire and Turtle Rock so that eventually Bo can be on the pedestal.
Oh, God.
Because you guys love to see trolley seeds as long as you're not playing them.
I'll be the first to admit they are quite entertaining to watch, not to play.
Meanwhile, just a bunch of love in the Super Bunny Cave for Parisian as OhHeyItsDavid finishes up Swamp Palace.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 crystals to 3. OhHeyItsDavid is behind from Swamp. We'll see what play he makes on here. And Quake is required for T-Rock, so we can get in there if we need to.
Yep, can't really do anything yet without the Cane of Samaria, but we will see. Okay. Parisian decides to check in the Hook Chuck Cave first.
My God, all the health.
Yep, a lot of love to go around today. That was absolutely nothing.
whole lot of nothing, but with enough health and enough magic, looks like Parisian's going over to check Spike Cave.
Okay, he decides to check the ether tablet first. That's probably a good play. We'll see what drops from this guy today.
Meanwhile, OhHeyItsDavid is taking Jeremiah back home.
Oh, the little froggy in the Hammerpack caves. I like this play too. That's very nice. Oh, and the fire rod from the ether tablet. So both of our rods were on the tablets today. Is that right?
And the fire rod was in the ice, and the ice rod was in the fire.
Yeah, that's quite crazy.
Again, we don't know if either of them are actually required yet, but it's nice to have them either way.
Yeah, definitely. That also means they could be forced to check the back of Skull Woods and kill Mothula. Wait, they got both of the items.
It's gonna be Kane!
Yeah, that is right. We found the Cane of Samaria, so that means with the fire rod that ParisianPlayer just picked up, Turtle Rock is wide open for them.
The problem is we have David with the cane, with Parisian with the fire rod, so between the two of them they can get there, but neither one of them can get there, and they're both kind of out of the way places from where they've been right now.
Oh, and ParisianPlayer goes for the Ice Palace play. I like this. Immediately after getting the fire rod, that means he can get through here no problem. He does need to be a little bit careful, though. He does not have the half magic, which we haven't seen yet, and yeah, he'll need a full bar of magic to be able to get that little ice shield off of Cold Stare once he gets there.
That's going to be a little bit troublesome, but keep in mind that ParisianPlayer is also only the bow away from go mode, technically.
Oh, that is very true. So if he does happen to pick up the bow in here, he will be in go mode. Okay, gets the big key right away. That's a nice find, having that right away.
It helps quite a bit with your planning in Ice Palace when you don't have to plan on tracking everything for the big key and routing a second time around.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that was an interesting bomb. I had no idea their range was so big.
They're kind of deceptively big. Sometimes they're just smaller than you want them to be, but then when you don't want them to be big, they're bigger than they want them to be. So.
Yeah, Rando is always looking out to troll you, even with the small things.
Parisian just getting that bomb jump without any effort whatsoever. Very nicely done there.
Yeah, great play from him, but really, what else do we expect from a guy who can 100% this vanilla game blindfolded? While OhHeyItsDavid is cleaning up his desert palace, tried to hammer Lam Mola in the head. Just a little bit off. Okay, Parisian decides, oops, I got a small key, better go back and go this way to check all the chests.
It's a good play, of course, wanting to make sure you clear everything out. Not quite in go mode yet, even though you've gotten four crystals already, creeping up on go mode. That's really impressive right now by Parisian. And OhHeyItsDavid, not necessarily making any bad plays, just a little bit behind, and that's all.
Yeah, there's not too much difference between the two here. check out his checkerboard cave too.
Gonna be sorely disappointed with his 50 rupees.
Yep, doesn't want those either. And looks like OhHeyItsDavid wants to know what the dig spot holds for him today.
This could be significant because while Parisian has the shovel, we haven't seen him make a play because he's had other options. So this might be interesting. And it wasn't.
Oh, and there's temporary.
That's a nice pickup for Parisian there. Tempered, kind of a luxury item at this point, but always nice to have it when you're getting ready for some of these later bosses.
Yeah, definitely, and it's just a nice little convenience item, as you say, especially for the Ganon fight later. You won't have to be spinning and everything. You can just slash him directly. It'll speed it up significantly.
A Master Sword Ganon is something that these players are definitely capable of doing, but again, it's not the preferred way anyone wants to do it. So,
exactly.
Nice.
Okay, and now we see David turn in his mushroom, and then he's probably gonna go up and check out what the Quakefish has for him.
Yep, it's going to be a good play. We haven't seen Parisian go up that direction either, so very solid play on David's part. Looks like he's making some route divergence and trying to make some extra plays that maybe he's just trying to play catch up at this point.
Yeah, maybe.
At this point, Herfy, if you were either of these players, what would be your mindset? Would you feel like you were behind, ahead? Are you happy about any fights that you've had?
That's a good question. It's kind of hard to say, I would say. I probably would feel a little bit behind just because the bow has been so elusive and you're not sure if you just missed a spot somewhere or if your opponent is maybe routed completely differently and is already in go mode. I mean, I think OhHeyItsDavid is probably pretty happy about his Cane of Samaria find. But on the other hand, ParisianPlayer is probably very happy about that fire rod find.
Absolutely. And of course, Parisian, because of that fire rod find, is able to actually come in here. Without Bombos, we're not going to see OhHeyItsDavid over in Ice Palace for a while.
Yeah, not unless he remembers to go and check out the Ether tablet, which hopefully he will now after he goes through the Dark World East Death Mountain and picks up some items there. We already know it wasn't too great, but I'm sure he'll come back to the Ether tablet himself before he checks the Spike Cave, just like ParisianPlayer did.
Well, we certainly hope he does, for his sake at least.
Yep, absolutely. And we're of course also hoping that ParisianPlayer is gonna make that trip over to Village of Outcasts again soon to grab that blacksmith and get the Cane of Samaria for himself. Of course, it's not really required as far as we know anyways, but you never know and you just want to be safe.
I'll say this much: if he doesn't pick up Cane of Samaria, it would be really interesting to see them navigate Ganon's Tower because there are so many strats that require Cane. It would just be interesting to see them try to navigate that outside of their normal routing.
And ParisianPlayer missed the dig spot a little bit. Needs to do 2 dig. Usually something that NMG players will make fun of for you. But, we're not that bad.
That's why we're a higher class of community, isn't it?
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one because I don't want to get in trouble with all the NMG players. If that's what you think, that's obviously your prerogative. But I'm gonna play it safe on this one. All right, David, checking out the requirements for Turtle Rock and finds out, okay, I could theoretically get in here if I wanted to. He is gonna go over and seemingly check the ether tablet, so that's very good for him. Oh no, don't go down there yet.
No!
Paul decides to go. He remembered? Yes,
I
he
think
remembered.
he remembered.
Phew.
That's good.
Very good. Must have heard you.
Reasons delivering Jeremiah to his home.
Yep, gonna grab his cane of Samaria, and we might see a Turtle Rock play as a result of this from Parisian.
That would be a really interesting routing decision, and we might see it from both of them. No, David's going to go ahead and check that spike cave. Maybe?
Oh yeah, almost forgets to warp over to the Dark World. Good thing he didn't jump off Death Mountain here. Oh, but he does decide to go make the Turtle Rock play. Yeah, he was thinking a little bit and maybe wanted to do Spike Cave first, but then he realized, wait, I can't get in there. Time to race over to the right side and get into that damn Pendant dungeon.
Yep, with Quake to unlock, Fire, Ice, and Cane of Samaria. We've seen too much value in Turtle Rock at this point in time in this version of the Rando, so completely understand it. I think it's the same move I'd make.
Yeah, definitely. There's 5 items in here, and you just, everything is pointing you in this direction. All the items you found, the fire you just picked up, might as well go check it out. Meanwhile, ParisianPlayer decides not to make the Turtle Rock play. He wants to check out Skull Woods first. Probably also knows that the numbers really favor that dungeon now, but, well, he will be a little bit disappointed.
A lot of the players pointing out in chat that OhHeyItsDavid missed the early T-Rock gamble in his first race. Probably some confirmation bias sending him this way. We'll see if it plays out. It may be confirmation bias, but it's biased throughout this entire tournament from what I've seen, so I can't fault him for it even remotely.
Yeah, not at all. The only thing is what Sports Hefe just pointed out in chat. Crystal Ice Palace is completely open to him, so I am surprised he decides to dip into a Pendant dungeon first. It might turn out to be the perfect play, we will see here in a second, but yeah, usually you'd prefer the Crystal dungeons, I'd say.
It's the preference, certainly, but again, I tend to agree with chat. It just feels like after losing that last race to a T-Rock, it would weigh heavy on me too.
Yeah, I definitely don't blame him for this, and I don't think it's the wrong play. It's just a little bit surprising, but definitely not wrong.
I think people are rooting for T-Rock Bow at this point in time. You know what? I can't blame you guys for rooting for T-Rock Bow. We're still rooting for. I know some people are still rooting for Pedestal Bow, which is not outside the realm of possibility either.
Yeah, very true. It could still happen. I would definitely like for those players to find the bow hidden here in Turtle Rock. That means OhHeyItsDavid will be able to go mode all the rest of his crystal dungeons, which will not give him too much time advantage, except for Ice Palace. But still, just being able to go mode a couple of dungeons, it just feels really good.
OhHeyItsDavid picking up his Tempered Sword, so we know where all 4 swords are at this point in time.
Yep, we certainly do, and well, depending on if he finds the bow here, if he does find the bow here, he will probably not pick up his Butter Sword in Ice Palace, but if he does not find the bow here, he might just be picking up his Butter Sword in Ice Palace down there.
So much depends on what ends up happening here. Does he pick up something of value here in T-Rock as the bow? Or does he not? What's going to happen?
Oh, gets a very convenient refill here with that last heart piece to fill out his 15 hearts.
This is a very healthy seed, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think these guys will be complaining about how much hearts they had. I'm guessing they really, really want that half magic, but it has yet to rear its head.
That might come into play here a little bit later when OhHeyItsDavid takes a look at Trinex. Does he have the potions?
I think he went and bought a couple blue potions earlier, but I don't really recall off my head. We shall see here soon. And as Chad is pointing out, we might see a pedestal check from Parisian here, so maybe we'll find out soon if that bow is on the pedestal.
Well, we saw him try to check, but then he ended up warping back, so I tend to suspect he'll be checking directly.
Yep, and it is definitely looking like a pedestal check to me. So this might give Parisian player a huge advantage if the bow turns out to be here on the pedestal. Oh, it is the powder. Still, we don't know. Maybe the Batman has the bow. It might still be required.
That's a horrible pedestal check right there because yeah, we could have Magic Bat with the bow. Fetch quests are just torturous on pedestal.
Absolutely. You never know if there's anything hiding behind that fetch quest that you just read about. Who knows fake powder in this matchup? Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning here that just recently there was a glitch found where if you have the Cane of Samaria and the mushroom and you don't have any magic, you can use the cane, immediately switch to the mushroom, and as soon as you unpause, it will use the powder for you. So they could sequence break that bat check if they really, really run out of options.
Here's the problem though, they both already turned in the mushroom.
Oh, you're completely right. They don't have the mushroom anymore.
They've already given up their drugs. That it'll be interesting to see if, in the long term we see people start planning around that, not, avoiding turning in the mushroom in case they need to do that, or just going ahead and doing that sequence break anyway.
Yeah, it could come into play. Who knows? It is definitely another risk-reward thing, as you were mentioning earlier, because not giving up that mushroom might end up hurting you. You never know what the witch holds as an item. Alright, now we see Parisian player making his play.
A bow!
Ooh, the bow and the laser bridge. Alright, so that's the official go mode for OhHeyItsDavid.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting.
Yep, he's mirroring out. Okay, very good. So we are officially in go mode at 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 55 seconds now. OhHeyItsDavid just needs to go clean up the rest of his crystal dungeons. That is, that is pretty good, I'd say.
That's significant. The issue is that Parisian player is right on his heels, just entering T-Rock right now. So, OhHeyItsDavid has to be able to clear out not only Ice Palace, but looks like he'll also have to do Eastern Palace and Pod. But I guess both Pod and Eastern are what Parisian will have to do anyway. So, diving halfway into Turtle Rock to the laser bridge to get your bow versus going through and doing Ice Palace. These two players are tied at this point in time.
I would actually give the lead to OhHeyItsDavid at the moment. Not by much, admittedly, but both Pod and Eastern have been cleared out by him as far as he could, so it's a quick way to the boss and then get it done with. And he can go mode Ice Palace while Parisian had to full clear it, so that will probably save him some time too. The only difference is Parisian will probably be picking up his butter sword.
That's true. It's going to be an exciting race. This one is going to come down to the wire here.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a real close race.
Also, apologies to anyone whose eardrums I just broke yelling out Bo.
I think the reaction was warranted, but I'd be lying if I said you didn't scare me a little bit too.
Oops, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Parisian picking up his butter, but gets another little bite on the butt from the chain jump there. Down to 1.5 hearts, and without powder being on the pedestal. Yeah, we'll have to be real careful in here. You don't want to take a death in Turtle Rock and retrace all these steps.
That'd be a long way, and it's real risky at this point. He's still not in go mode, so not full clearing it. So it'll be rough. This next room has seen a lot of extra damage go out.
Yep, he really needs to be careful here. Surprised he didn't go for the fire out shot here, but I guess Butter Sword kills those pokies quick enough.
That's fair. I also just realized that this is a race where both competitors are using the generic Link sprite.
Yep, very true. No custom sprite selected today.
That was a brilliant turtle room there by OhHeyItsDavid.
Yep, having no issues with it at all. Kills them all real quickly, making his way up to the Helmosaur King. Shouldn't be a big problem for him either, especially with those silver arrows in his quiver. Just gotta hammer off the mask and then fire one silver arrow in his little green jewel on his head, and you're good to go.
And for everyone in chat and everyone else out in the community watching this after the fact, this is the time when you really want to study exactly what they're doing, because these players who have been around for a long time in Go mode know exactly what they have to do every time. There's quick strats, getting through dungeons as absolutely quickly as they can. This is them at their peak performance.
Yep, I definitely agree. OhHeyItsDavid picking up his pod crystal here. He's gonna walk out and mirror straight to EP. Gonna finish up Armos Knights quickly, and then all he has left is Go Mode Ice Palace, which should not be a problem for him. But as Chad is pointing out, we will see. I think both of our players here will be meeting in Ganon's tower sooner or later. And it will definitely come down to the wire.
This could be a choice in right or left side gambles for these players. Parisian picking up the bow or the bug net. I'm just pointing out Agahnim strats now can be done.
They could be, yeah, for sure. I'm thinking the Parisian player probably picked up that bug net, and I'm assuming he rolled his eyes big time thinking, God, couldn't you have been the bow? What do I want with this thing now?
We've all been there. We've all been on that hunt for the one item. But, at an hour 33 for these guys, they're making great time through this version 26 seed.
Absolutely. This is a great time for both of them, and Parisian player having a great time here on the bridge. Oh, well, Cast a Curse strikes again. Oh,
And he waits until the very last one.
There is the bow. Mirrors out immediately. And off to pot and EP he goes, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, this will be real quick. It'll be interesting. OhHeyItsDavid has a bit of a lead. He'll still have to do all of Ice Palace, but Go moding Ice Palace, as it's been said many times, is really, really fast.
Yeah, well, it's really going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. So, OhHeyItsDavid picking up his EP crystal. All that is left is, as you said, the Go Mode Ice Palace. Parisian player really just needs to get to the two bosses. He's also cleared out most of Pod and EP already, so he'll be equally quickly through both of them. We'll see if that makes up enough time for him to catch up with David, or if David can go mode Ice Palace quicker than that, but they are absolutely within each other's reach.
This is absolutely one of the more exciting races I've called, at least not only this evening, but for this whole tournament. These two are so close to one another.
Alright, OhHeyItsDavid now making his way through the first rooms of the Ice Palace, while Parisian player is making his way to Helmasaur King as quickly as he can. Not stopping for anything, putting down a block from the Cane of Samaria.
Silver arrows, too. They're going just plowing through everything. At this point, it's going to come down to execution. The fewer mistakes each of them can make, the better off they'll be long term.
Absolutely. Okay, OhHeyItsDavid coming up to the Ice Palace bomb jump. Should not have any trouble with it. Yep, gets it first try, wonderful.
This might be an interesting part. I don't know if either of these players will have a problem with it. While Parisian player does have the Butter Sword, he's also only got Blue Mail, which, when it comes to Ganon, might make a bit of a difference, whereas David does have both Tempered and Red Mail, so one's a little bit more defense-heavy than the other.
Yeah, that's very true. Olive, to answer your question, the difference between Tempered and Butter is not that huge. It is a difference, but it's definitely not as much of a difference as if, say, one of them had Master Sword and the other had Tempered. Alright, so Parisian player picked up his Pod Crystal, while OhHeyItsDavid is just about to drop down the Cold Stare and pick up his last crystal. This will be an almost simultaneous reach into Ganon's tower, I'm gonna assume.
It's going to be very, very close.
And yeah, it is definitely a bigger difference if you have to do it silverless, because that last phase makes all the difference, but both of our runners having silver arrows here shouldn't be much of an issue. David is just slashing away like a madman, doesn't care about getting bumped or anything, he just wants this boss dead as fast as possible.
Well done by David. Almost a textbook Cold Stare fight there.
Getting his refill, and now he will immediately mirror back to the light world, flute up to Death Mountain, make his way up to Ganon's tower as quickly as he can. And I already see the guesses in chat.
Yep. Let's see everyone else's guesses. What chest is the big key in Ganon's tower going to be? What do you have for it, Herfy?
I always pick number 8. Do you have a specific number that you always guess, or do you change it up every time?
You know what? I've been guessing on the lamp every time.
Oh, okay, so you were pretty happy with the seed that came before this one, I assume, if you watched it.
I was getting set up, actually, so I didn't get a chance to see the one right before.
Oh, okay, that's fine, but yeah, it had the big key on the torch. Alright. Alright, so Parisian player picking up his last crystal just as OhHeyItsDavid is about to warp back into the dark world. The Turtle Rock just needs to dash over to the west and he'll be right in front of Ganon's tower.
All things said, OhHeyItsDavid is only about a minute ahead of Parisian player. If that, any mistake that these players make will cost them dearly at this point.
Yeah, as you said earlier, it might just come down to that right or left side gamble. If they decide to go different routes, it might pay off big for one of them. Alright, so OhHeyItsDavid is opening up his Ganon's tower. Let's see when exactly he enters and compare it to when Parisian player enters. Okay, so that's 1 hour 40 and 13 seconds for OhHeyItsDavid. And that's the first chest and the second chest. Looks like David is also a subscriber to the theory that if you find a small key in one of these two chests, you go right side first.
That'll be interesting. We'll see how this ends up playing.
Yep, definitely. Ooh, barely dodges the Wallmaster here. It's 2 torches lit. 3 and 4, and now he just has to make it through the door. Alright. Okay, and the cutscene starts for Parisian, so he will be about a minute and maybe 20 seconds, a minute and 20 behind, a minute and 10.
Bombos in that chest up on right side.
Oh, interesting find. Okay, so there's really the tiniest of difference between these two guys. It seems like Parisian player is taking the same route. Let's see if he decides to go to the left side after these two chests, or also check out the right side. Oh, no, he mirrors back. So that is going to make up some time.
We are just seconds apart.
Oh, and Chad is pointing out the Parisian's timer is about 2 seconds ahead, so he really wasn't all that far behind after all. This is gonna come down to the wire here, guys. This might actually, even though I said it doesn't make that much of a difference, it might actually come down to the difference between Tempered and Buttersword here in the end.
It very well could. Big key!
Oh, and there's a big key. Alright, they're gonna find it at almost the exact same time. Parisian doesn't waste any time opening any extra chests, mirrors right back. Oh man, this is gonna be so close!
We're going to see the absolute best execution. We're going to have to see the best execution here, and every little mistake is going to be amplified.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see how these two guys shake it out. It seems like Parisian is catching up nicely. Having a bit less trouble with the Mimic Room. Oh, no, misses a shot. Oh man, these guys are so neck and neck. It's... oh boy.
OhHeyItsDavid and Parisian player both have a nice second Mimic Cave.
Oh, this is gonna come down to the wire so hardcore. This is like a 5-second difference, if even.
Oh, it's less than 5-second difference. If both players can maintain here. Oh, and David choosing to the strat to knock down. Parisian just goes right through. And David going safety strats.
Oh no. If only he knew. Oh, David, that's gonna cost you.
It's gonna cost him. Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Oh, accidentally dashes back into the hole in the wall. That's a couple seconds lost again.
Oh, and
no.
Again!
Does it a second time, David?
Meanwhile, Parisian makes his way through 2 of the rooms so far.
Oh my god, I can't believe how close this is. Jeez.
I am absolutely amazed at how close this race has been the entire time, start to finish. sword beams hurting David there, hitting him before he could. Meanwhile, Parisian's using fire rod strats on Land Mollusk. Getting a little bit trolled here. David has an opportunity to catch up if he can get a one-cycle Land Mollusk.
Yeah, this is going to really, I've said it like a million times by now, but this is going to really come down to the wire. I mean, if ParisianPlayer happens to be unlucky and get knocked down by Moldorm 2 here, that'll give David all the time to catch up if he managed to kill him before he gets knocked down.
Didn't quite get the one cycle or the two cycle. I'm not going to say struggling because it was still a fast kill, but Parisian makes his way onto the bridge.
Yeah, and we see ParisianPlayer here going for the lamb. Has that putt over his head for a little bit too long, but no problem.
Falls off the ledge. It's the popular meta right now. And Parisian's going to have to go and get that magic because he's almost out.
Yeah, but sadly David misses one of the Viz ropes, so that'll cost him a couple seconds too. This is so close.
Oh my goodness, this is just an amazing race so far. Ladies and gentlemen, in chat, please give both of these runners a like, a subscribe. Oh, hey, it's David, ParisianPlayer. They are worth it. This is quite the show that they're putting on.
Yeah, absolutely crazy what's happening here. Absolutely unbelievable. Alright, ParisianPlayer entering Moldorm 2, going for the dash threats, gets one hit in, gets a second hit in, no knockoff, so still no time for David to catch up yet.
It might all come down to that decision. Oh, and a bonk by Parisian. Normally that's not such a big deal, but my goodness now. That decision by David for safety strats
will be the
difference.
Okay, got it. Phew, sorry. I was scared for a second. Oh, checks the validation chest. Another couple seconds that he doesn't really need to spend, but... Oh, and also bonks. Alright, what do we have here so far from Parisian? I think he's got 2 hits in so far. He's been getting a blue ball. Alright, gets Agahnim down.
Right as OhHeyItsDavid steps in. So we'll see if OhHeyItsDavid can get more efficient and misses an easy one.
Yeah, that is painful. Oh no, misses another round.
This is painful for David.
Yeah, he's gonna get a double here. Oh, even a triple. That's very nice. But barring any major mistakes from ParisianPlayer on Ganon here, which I highly doubt will happen, it will be really hard for David to catch up.
Yep, as mentioned in chat, David doesn't do so well with blue balls in his face.
Alright, and David is gonna be dropping down into Ganon just as ParisianPlayer starts his phase number 3 on Ganon. 4 quick hits with the butter sword, gonna knock out all the floor tiles around the arena. David is definitely gonna need ParisianPlayer to die or fall to have a chance to catch up here, especially considering that he's 1 sword upgrade short. Normally not a huge deal, but as close as these two guys are.
No, and at this point, if you're Parisian, you just hope you don't take a hit that you don't need. You'd only have 5 hearts, but these guys have been at it for a long time. I'm not necessarily concerned about them not getting out of this alive.
Yeah, this should be in the bag for Parisian. He sets up for the last arrow, and boom.
Unless he has a Willard fail.
Nope, looks good. He's made it, and as soon as he walked through that magical door up there, I'm gonna give you guys the official SRL time. GG to him. And And there it is, ParisianPlayer finishing up in first place with a time of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 23 seconds. We're probably going to get him in for a post-game interview in just a second.
What a race, though, by these two. My goodness.
Indeed, that was absolutely crazy. It came down to the wire, and it really came down to G-Tower execution at the end there.
It was so close.
And there's David finishing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 10 seconds, so not even a minute behind. This couldn't have been any closer.
Nope, we have a grand total of, 47-second difference.
Yep, and we've got both our players here. GG to you guys. Congrats on the win, Parisian. This was a crazy race.
Thank you. Were you just finished?
I just
finished.
So I want to walk you guys through this because this was absolutely, you guys were close start to finish. You ended up the race 47 seconds difference. Literally, the killer. I mean, at this point, we think that Parisian was leading for most of the race, but it was still within a couple minutes. OhHeyItsDavid makes the early dive into Turtle Rock, gets the bow, and then is leading from that point in time on. The only difference, David, was you getting those fairies.
Oh, dang it.
Yes, that was what cost you. You entered G-Tower about a minute and 10 seconds before Parisian did, and it all came down at the end to that.
Speedrunning, guys! Speedrunning helps!
Indeed. That G-Tower execution is what saved you, Parisian.
Question. You did Skullwoods, or?
I did not finish it.
Yeah, okay, because when I finished it, I probably shouldn't have done it, but after I saw Pedestal anyway, I was like, okay, it's not a problem that I finished it. I started making scenarios in my head where Bo was in Bats, and Bombos was in Turtle Rock, and stuff like that. And Bo had Bats, so that Pedestal was required, so...
The other thing to point out is that David dove right side first.
Yeah, did you do right? I'm assuming you did left. Yeah,
I did left.
Okay, so that's where also time loss was.
No, then it's not execution. It's this. I don't know how long it takes to do the first chest on the right, to reach the fourth chest on the right.
As far as I know, it's about 30 to 40 seconds, depending on how quickly you can get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot more player doing that, but I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me still.
So, David, tell me a little bit, because we know that a lot of the people in chat were talking about how your last race you ended up losing because you didn't do the early Turtle Rock dive, but you did it this time. How much was that playing in the back of your mind there?
All right, well, I made a promise to fellow Racer 7 that I was going to go into Turtle Rock early if I had the ability to. And so I kept my promise, and it worked out. So
now that was a big race, because up until that point in time, one person, I think, David, you had Samaria Rod right at the same time that Parisian got Fire Rod, and you guys switched, and I mean, it was always within just a couple minutes. It was an incredibly exciting match. And then that early T-Rock dive looked like you had it. It was just so close.
Yeah, it was in the back of my head. I was thinking, if there's any place Bo could possibly that could troll the heck out of me, it's probably T-Rock.
Yeah, there was one thing I didn't do also was Catfish. So when I went into T-Rock, I really hoped it was not Catfish.
Yeah, I went to Catfish, and then I actually forgot what was on Zora Ledge because I actually didn't check it, so I had to go check that really quick. So
yeah, we noticed. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying, we noticed you running past the Zora ledge with the water walking glitch, and we were like, oh man, we really hope it doesn't come back to bite him. Thankfully, it was only 3 bombs, but
Yeah.
still, that was quite dangerous.
So tell me a little bit, guys, because it looks like you didn't practice your no lift upgrade strats, because it was 50 minutes until you guys got a lift upgrade, and it seemed like some of your routing for both of you was a little bit confused. You both, for example, tried to go up to Zora the old-fashioned way in Catfish and just couldn't get there because you weren't used to not having a lift.
Yeah, I tried to lift also in Thieves Town.
I did that too.
But yeah, Zora was weird. I wanted to make the entire path mushroom, catfish, and the entire Zora section, and then I realized that after the mushroom, I cannot go to catfish this way, so I had to readjust myself.
Yeah, that lift upgrade was really elusive.
Yeah, and that makes Agahnim required in the end.
Yeah, it was Agahnim required. I was like running out of places. Like, it's got to be Agahnim. I thought it was gonna be on the pyramid for some reason.
Yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me, but turns out that the pod dive was required. So basically, a forced double dip into pod.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, this is probably the most entertaining race I've seen. Not just because of how close it was. It was less than a minute between you guys both ending, but also the fact that it was just back and forth the entire time. So kudos to both of you.
In Ganon's Tower, I was looking most of the time on my ethereal on the ethereal channel, so like, is he gonna dot down? Is he gonna dot down?
Same, I was looking too. Oh my god.
Yeah, but you guys put on a great show. GG to both of you once again, and it was great to watch, definitely.
And we still have more rando action tonight, just keeping everyone up to date. It looks like at midnight we have on Speed Gaming 1, we have Mr. Barry Bonds versus Monarchy. We do have 2 matches going on, the doubleheader, Cross Product and Yagamoth, and then Kyong 92 and Simbai. That's going on right now. So still plenty of rando action going on tonight for you guys to peruse.
Absolutely, the rando does not stop. Well, once again, thanks to the players. Do you guys have anything else you want to say about the seed, or any shout-outs? Anything else you wanna get off your chest?
I think I'm fine.
Okay, that's fair.
I got sniped when I was trying to not do the bird toss.
Yeah, see that.
Yes,
thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me. I wanted to have a serious talk with you about teasing us like that. We saw you there, and then we thought it was a well-deserved snipe that forced you to toss that the bird into the water.
Other than that, the sea was pretty fun. I enjoyed it, so I can't wait to rewatch the race itself.
Good. I hope you enjoy it, and of course, good luck on the rest of your tournament. You guys are both still in it, obviously. You, David, have still a chance to come back, no problem at all. ParisianPlayer, you were going 1-1, so you've got your revenge on your first loss.
Yep. Still have very few hopes to go through to group phase, but at least it's better than nothing.
Oh, well. I think you're a little bit too down on yourself. I mean, I watched you do the 100% vanilla blindfolded run a couple days ago.
Yeah, but that does not help me for randomizer.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't help you for randomizer, but it's still an impressive feat, and I think everyone should go check that out and definitely give these 2 guys a follow. They put a crazy entertaining race on, and as you just heard, they do quite a bit of other stuff that is also very entertaining to watch.
Well, thank you for the advertisement, and thank you for commentating.
Yeah, thank you guys. You guys did awesome, hopefully. I can't wait to rewatch it.
I certainly hope so. All right, so that's going to be it for us. Again, thank you to our 2 runners. Thank you to Vitasia for co-commentating with me. Thank you to Who42 Baker for tracking this complete race. Thank you to Clifford for the restream. And of course, thank you to all the admins and everyone behind the scenes who keeps the show running as much as they can. I'm Herfy Durfee. That's it from me.
And I'm Vitasia. Thank you so much, guys, for dealing with all of us. And it's been a great run today.
We'll be seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.